in some kind of historical museum out in Arizona. He claims someone called Mr. Green reached out to him and offered him a chance to take home some historic railroad. The driver was confused, but was keen to grab a piece of Gold Rush history, so he drove out to retrieve a piece yesterday. Said that he and his son had to cut it out with a saw and lift it with a crane. He had receipts for the whole plant rental and everything. Obviously, we had nothing to do with this exchange, so the question becomes, who on earth is Mr. Green? The cops were going to ask me about it, but the guy was adamant that it had all been signed off by this Mr. Green. They just tried calling his number, and it's not recognized. They're going to get in touch with the truck driver and get back to me. But you'll recognize it when you see it. Okay, so at least the site itself hasn't been touched. What about the tool shed? They left an inventory, but there wasn't much in there. Just some digging tools and a rock saw. I knew it. Of course they've been here as well. They've taken something. The rock saw is missing. I looked them up and they're like $500 brand new. This one was used and old. I doubt it's worth much. It was pretty heavy too. Have a look around. I wonder if they drove up here to get it. Gotcha. Okay. So they're in a car or truck and they've been here recently. I've got a plan, but we're gonna need to act fast. Grab a photo of those tracks and send it to me. I'm gonna round up some of my friends. Stay on the line. Okay, so we're going to lock down the barricades for all of our roads. Nothing gets in or out. I've rounded up a few people to help, but I've got a gate I need you to lock up. First thing you'll need to do is grab a padlock. I keep one in the closest lookout tower to the gate. Once you're inside, look for a locker. That's the tower you need to check inside. Let me know when you've grabbed the padlock. Got the padlock? Okay. Your GPS will show you where to find the right gate. We're almost there. The other roads are all locked down. Just your gate left to close. One of my friends says he arrived at his gate just as a truck was leaving. He recorded the license plate, though. The deputy's gonna take a look. Shut. Great work. If the criminals are still inside the reserve, they're gonna need to go off-road to escape. I feel better. The police are working with us now, and we have taken steps to get things back on track. The deputies share my suspicions about this being the work of animal rights activists. Sure, we get the odd email from time to time. A few years ago, my dad narrowly avoided having red paint thrown all over him by someone who had come looking for trouble. There's a group called the Activists for the Protection of Animal Rights, APAR. They've sent us some letters in the past. Thing is, it's been all calm on that front recently. And if you want to target, why us? We're not high profile. Until recently, that was my biggest problem. Plus, the sounds on that tape will be with me for a while. I don't think the person who recorded them is likely to be sensitive to animal rights. One thing I do know is that this lockdown is going to hurt us. People will talk. And I know that there are people on the board who are already considering replacing me. I do have better news, though. One of the accountants got back to me about this meditation mountain that Baden was going to climb. She's ambitious, I'll give her that. She set her sights on one of our taller mountains, Mount Ursula. The police are in charge, so we have to take the back seat for a while. In the meantime, I'd like you to have another shot at finding Baden. She must be in a pretty rough state by now. Look, that's definitely her gear. There's a yoga mat and everything. Is that a journal? Normally I wouldn't recommend this, but maybe we should see if she's written anything that can help. That's a lot to take in. Did she say she heard noises from the tree line? Let's check it out. I'll be honest, I'm really worried about her now. Footprints. I can't believe it. We followed. We were so close. I need to tell the police. I should... Okay, first things first. I need to get it together. How you doing? Are you okay? I'm sorry that you're having to deal with this firsthand. I need to deal with this, but there hasn't been a death in the reserve for almost a decade. I'm gonna call my dad, so he can talk me through the next steps. Before I start making arrangements, there's something I'd like you to do for me, if you think you're up to it. In her journal, Baden mentions winning the trip out here. In all this drama, I forgot that she wasn't just here with the retreat. She was planning on staying a little longer at one of our outposts. There was something strange about the booking. I'm gonna make some calls now, but I'd like you to go to the outpost she was going to stay at. I have an uneasy feeling about why she was here. I can't quite explain it, but I don't think it was her idea to come here. send an officer up to secure the scene, take pictures, etc. Do you remember the truck that we spotted leaving the reserve just before we locked it down? Well, the deputy had some news. Turns out that the truck was stolen from a college campus in Denver just a couple of weeks ago. It gets stranger. The sheriff just got a call from a patrolman in the next county over. The truck has been found on fire, abandoned in the middle of nowhere. It was an anonymous tip-off. I'm not an expert, but I bet that truck was the escape vehicle for our culprits. I'll let you know if the police find anything new. I need you to look for any signs that she came here with an agenda that might tie into the problems we're having. Be respectful, though. Her luggage. I guess it's just clothes and things. No need to open it up. That's the gear from the dig site, isn't it? Look, there's the rock saw. Did they take the blade off for safety, maybe? There's a rifle in there, too? No hunter's leaving something like that lying around. Didn't we already find Boden's phone in the woods? Ghost town and dig site? No. I don't believe it. I'll be honest with you. I'm struggling to keep myself under control. Not only has someone been terrorizing the reserve, but they plan to pin it on someone else. You know, my dad said that there's a spiritual reason for what's going on. What I believe is that people have tried to hurt us, and the innocents are getting caught in the middle. And the worst thing is that I have no idea who's behind it. Composure. That's what we need now, right? We got a response from APAR. They are denying all connections to what's happening here. They say that, while they have sadly been forced to euthanize animals in the past, none of their operations would ever condone the sorts of animal mistreatment that were reported. This never seemed like their MO to begin with. They kill shelter animals because they feel it's more humane than the alternative. They don't come out here to do it. Oh, and to make things even worse, I keep getting voicemails from Bobby Joe Jefferson asking me to call him back. We were able to trace the payment for Boden's accommodation. You ready for this? It came from a Green Enterprises. The company was dissolved 3 days ago. Seems like the person behind Boden's choice to come here was also the one who gave the go-ahead to rip up our railway. That's it. I've had enough from Bobby Joe. I'm gonna call him back and tell him that it's not the time. Give me a minute. I have a job for you. I'm sending you details of a spot I want you to visit, but I need to deal with something just now. I'll call you back once I'm done. I can't believe I'm about to say this, but Bobby Joe may have solved the case. Do you recall the uranium mine that he was camped beside? It turns out that he was camping there because he was convinced that it was hosting some government conspiracy. Well, it turns out that someone had been up to visit the site on more than one occasion. The last time they visited, they came with a truck. Bobby was suspicious, so he tailed the truck as it moved around the reserve. Just before they left the reserve, Bobby lost sight of it as it disappeared into the woods. Before Bobby could figure out where it had gone, the truck returned to the road and drove out of the reserve. Bobby kept tailing them. Once they were out of the county, the driver jumped out, grabbed a jerry can from the back, and doused the truck in gasoline before setting it on fire. Bobby swears to me that the guy who got out of the truck is William Simpkins Jr. Shortly afterwards, he was picked up by someone in the car that matches the description of Junior's best friend. You remember the old chairman I told you about? That's William Simpkins Sr. This is his son. I went to school with him after he got himself kicked out of his fancy prep school. Junior was pretty horrible to everyone at school, but he was especially nasty to Bobby. I won't go into details, but I wouldn't be surprised if Bobby holds a grudge. The spot I'm sending you to is the place where Bobby says the truck took a detour before leaving the reserve. The driver desperately needed to get out of here, so why take a detour? Unless it was absolutely essential. Whoever it was that drove in here got out. Follow the footprints. blood on the ground. Keep following that trail. That tree, it's been marked. Is that a hand? A bloody handprint? That's really not a good sign. Whose blood is on his hands? Look, there's blood on the ground. Keep following that trail. This seems to be the end of the trail. There's a little patch of disturbed soil. Did they bury something? It's a rusty old saw blade. Oh, it's the saw blade that had been attached to the dig team's rock saw. But why detach it from the saw and bury it unless it was important? Take another look at the blade. It's not just rusty, is it? It's got blood on it. I'd bet it's the vandal's blood, too. Okay, don't touch the blade. Leave it there. The deputy's on their way. They'll probably want to talk to you. I think we've just found the missing piece of the puzzle. Great work. I've got an update. Junior and his friend were just pulled over by the state police. Guess who has a nasty gash across their hand? Good morning, my friend. I hope you've enjoyed the last few days of uninterrupted peace and tranquility. I've just said goodbye to the last of the deputies team. They've gathered up all the evidence they think they'll need. While you've been busy hunting and exploring, I've been in interviews or giving statements to the police, the board, and even the local press. I haven't stopped or slowed down for what feels like at least a week now. I doubt today will be very different. I wanted to catch up with you this morning as I wanted to express my gratitude for the work you've done and ask you for one last big favor. I know I mentioned my dad's concern that there was a more spiritual reason for why things have been tough at the reserve. I can't say that I necessarily agree with him, but I'd like to do something to make him feel better. This job involves a journey to the top of Mount Silver Ridge. I don't trust anyone else to do this. Can you make it to the start of the trail? I think I ought to tell you why I'm sending you over there, right? So, since my dad got sick and I took over the warden position, we've sort of stopped doing a lot of the things that we used to do together. Sadly, this has resulted in us both missing the bear dance back in spring. I know it means a lot to my dad, and I feel bad that we weren't able to make it. It can get pretty tense when we discuss our culture back home. Dad and I see the world through different lenses. I am proud of my heritage and where I come from, but I don't want it to define me as a person. Dad sees that as me turning my back on my community. Since we both missed the bear dance, I plan to make it up to Dad by attending the Sundance in a week's time. You're probably wondering what this has to do with you walking up a mountain, right? Just before I was born, my grandfather climbed Mount Silver Ridge and stashed a pair of quartz rattles at the top. When I was a teenager, my dad showed me them and told me that they were only to be brought down the mountain in times of dire need. I think that if I bring those rattles with me to the Sundance, Dad will appreciate that I've accepted their significance and paid respect to our beliefs. So, after helping pull the reserve back together, I'm hoping you'll help me comfort my dad. I hope I'm not asking too much.